And joining me now is one of the candidates in that New Jersey Democratic gubernatorial primary, Jersey City Mayor Steve Fulop. Mayor Fulop, thank you so much for joining us here on Meet the Press Now. You know, this is a crowded and competitive primary, as we just heard from Steve Kornacki. Yeah. The first one for New Jersey governor in a long time. So why should voters pick you over your competitors?
Well, let me just start by saying that I don't think anybody in New Jersey thinks it's a 17-point race. I think it's going to come down to a 3 or 4 point race on Election Day. I think anybody who's living here would attest to that. The reality is that I think our lane is most credible for November because it's not really going to be a referendum on Donald Trump. It's going to be more of a referendum, as I think Steve touched on, after 8 years of Phil Murphy.
And, Mayor, I want to put up some of your piece out today in NewJersey.com. You said the biggest hidden tax in New Jersey is corruption. Backroom deals, no-bid contracts, political favors. That culture doesn't just erode trust, it costs real money, and it blocks real progress. No more excuses, no more insiders writing their own rules. People deserve a government they can actually trust. So you're the mayor of the state's second largest city. You've backed establishment candidates in the past. Why are you the best person to take on corruption in New Jersey?
Well, let me say I've never ran with the party establishment support. I actually beat them in 2013, and then they couldn't beat me in 2017, so they were supportive. And then again in 2021, when I ran for council in 2005, it was the same exact lane that I'm in. So I think it's the only credible lane to be successful in November. It's a lane that I've been part of for 20 years. But as a mayor, you work with other people, and I think I have a track record of that, but never been part of it here in New Jersey.
And to that point, you recently called Governor Murphy a sub-average governor. So where has he fallen short, and how would you be different?
Well, I think if you think about Governor Murphy, I think that he's risk averse and conflict averse. He's a nice guy, but I think those are two attributes that aren't probably the best for an executive. I think he's done a lot of simple, progressive tasks post Chris Christie. And I don't think we've been bold. I think if you think about things like the minimum wage, we're still a poverty wage, even though we raised it. You think about paid sick leave, we were late to the party. So if you were to look back at the 8 years, I think it'd be hard-pressed to say what his biggest accomplishment is that's been transformational. So I say he's done some basic things, but I think just the basic isn't enough.
So if I hear you correctly, you want to be the bold candidate, you want to be the risk taker, and you painted yourself in ads as the best Democratic candidate to take on Trump. So what state resources specifically would you mobilize to fight Trump's agenda? And do you worry you put a target on New Jersey's back?
Look, I think we all talk about Trump as being the strongest candidate to take him on. The reality is that I have the largest volunteer base of any candidate. I'm very clear that we keep the current attorney general for continuity purposes, and we use the current surplus to offset some of the Medicaid cuts. The reality, though, is, like I said earlier, it's going to be more of a referendum on whether New Jersey wants another 4 years of Democratic control after 8 years of Phil Murphy. And the reason I say that, I just want to say, is because a lot of independents in New Jersey voted for Donald Trump last November. So it's clear that it's not going to be just a referendum on him.
Right. And to that point, you know, Trump did perform relatively well in New Jersey in November. His poll numbers are still over 40% in the state. So do New Jersey voters want a governor who's going to defy Trump at every turn, or someone who might want to work with him?
I think they want somebody who's going to stand up for vulnerable communities. And even though the political system on the Democratic side has walked away from maybe some immigrant issues or the transgender community, I don't think New Jersey wants a nominee that's just going to abandon those. I think you got to be able to advocate for them in a way that's thoughtful, but not make them the core part of the campaign. And you do got to be able to stand up to Donald Trump when he looks at vulnerable communities and he tries to punch and poke them constantly. So I do think they want somebody that's going to stand up.
And so the interim U.S. attorney, Alina Habba, she's suing Governor Murphy over the state's policy on cooperating with immigration enforcement. How would you handle this as governor?
She's suing me, too, so I'm part of that. And, I mean, we're pushing back on it. I think that there's a lot of things on the legislative front that are on deck that the governor should be pushing. Immigrant Trust Act, for example, which defines how New Jersey is going to work with ICE or not work with ICE in certain situations. The reality is that we just think that due process is important. You got to follow the Constitution. And I think a lot of the way that ICE has approached it, particularly in cities like Newark and Jersey City, kind of undermine that.
And Mayor, a couple of days ago, one of your rivals, Josh Gottheimer, said that I think this is going to be a very tough November for whichever Democrat wins. Do you agree?
I do. I think that not all 6 of us can win in November. And I think if you have the most moderate candidate that is part of the political establishment here, I think you have a very, very limited chance of success in November.
Mayor Steven Fulop, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.